Today, we are breaking down that absolutely mind-blowing leaked teaser for the X-Men's return in Avengers Doomsday. And you're going to want to stick around because we found a massive villain hiding in plain sight that almost nobody is talking about.
All right, so let's just get right into it. The teaser looks like it's all about the X-Men, right? But I'm telling you, their biggest, baddest foe is staring us right in the face during the most epic shot. So let's break this down and find him. So the teaser kicks off, not with some big action scene, but with this really haunting, unsettling shot of the X-Men's home. It sets a super grim tone from the get-go. Right away, we see that famous metal plaque for Charles Xavier's school just lying in the dirt, ripped right off the gate. This isn't just a busted-up building, you know? This is their home, their sanctuary, and it's been completely destroyed. The message here is loud and clear. The X-Men have been absolutely shattered. Okay, but then we get to what is maybe the most powerful moment in the whole teaser. It shows two lifelong enemies who have finally, and I mean finally, ended up on the same side. After decades of being on opposite sides of a war, we see Professor X and Magneto playing chess. Magneto's floating a king piece, and the professor just gently holds his hand, and they share this smile. It's a real smile of understanding. This one little moment says everything. This isn't some temporary truce. This is a real alliance. And you know it was forged by a threat so huge, it was the only thing that could finally bring them together. And then, bam, we get to the peak of the action, and it is glorious. We've got a perfectly comic-accurate Cyclops in what really looks like the fight of his life. So here's Cyclops just caked in mud, maybe blood, and he is clearly at his limit. And then he does the one thing we almost never see him do. He takes off his visor completely. He's unleashing the full, raw, unrestrained power of his optic blast. This isn't some calculated move. This is a desperate, last-ditch effort. It's proof that whatever he is up against has pushed him way past his breaking point. But hang on. What's really cool is the tiny little detail happening right behind him. It's something most people would totally miss on the first watch. You gotta look really close. See him? In all that chaos behind the blast, you can just make out these giant metallic legs stumping around. Yep, those are Sentinels, the classic mutant hunting robots. But these are not the Sentinels we're used to. They are on a whole other level. I mean, these things are enormous. We're talking 5, maybe 10 times bigger than the ones we saw in Days of Future Past. They're practically Galactus-sized. How are the X-Men supposed to fight that? Their chances of winning look like they're pretty much zero. So this is the most important part. Cyclops isn't just firing wildly at some random giant robot. No, he's aiming at the one person who's controlling this entire army. That's right. The target of that final, all-out, desperate blast isn't a machine at all. It's Dr. Doom. This shot reveals him as the true mastermind behind this whole attack on the X-Men. Okay, so the big question is, how in the world did the X-Men from this timeline get roped into a multiversal throwdown with Dr. Doom? Well, believe it or not, the answer is actually in one of their own movies. It all comes down to a concept we've definitely heard before, an incursion. Basically, it's a giant cosmic disaster that happens when two realities crash into each other. And you know what usually causes that? Messing with time. So think back to Days of Future Past. The X-Men sent Wolverine's mind back in time to change history and stop the Sentinels from ever being built. And it worked. But in doing so, they basically broke reality and created a whole new, unauthorized timeline. That is the definition of reckless time travel, and it's the kind of thing that triggers an incursion. So while they saved their own world, they also put a huge target on their backs for someone who sees himself as the guardian of the entire cosmic order. And now Dr. Doom has shown up to make them pay for it. Okay, so that explains the how, but I bet you're asking a couple of other big questions, like where are some of the key players, and how is Professor X alive again? So if you're wondering how Professor X is back after Logan, the answer is actually pretty simple. Alternate timelines. This isn't the same Charles Xavier. And as for Wolverine and Deadpool, well, they're not here because they just don't live at the X-Mansion with this crew. They're off on their own adventure. At least, for now. And that is the absolute key. You gotta remember, Wolverine is still torn up about the family he lost in Logan. So for him to see Dr. Doom come in and systematically wipe out another family of X-Men, that's gonna be his breaking point. This tragedy right here is what's gonna push him and Deadpool to finally jump into this multiversal war against Doom.
And let's be honest, these two have a pretty decent track record. I mean, they've literally saved an entire universe before, so if anybody has a shot at turning the tide against a threat this big, it's gonna be them. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. We all know Wolverine is being set up for a huge, epic moment in this movie. So with that healing factor, with that unstoppable rage, could he be the one to land the final iconic blow against Dr. Doom? Come on, just picture it. Wolverine regenerating from every single thing Doom throws at him, just to leave one final scratch across that infamous metal mask. What do you think?
Okay, so there's this leaked 70-second teaser that has absolutely blown up the internet. And, for good reason. It's super dark, it's really emotional, and honestly, it looks like it's pointing to the complete end of the X-Men universe as we've known it for, over 20 years now. So today, we are going to break down every single frame.
And right from the jump, the teaser hits us with these just chilling words from Magneto. It casts the shadow of total finality over everything we're about to see. And you gotta know, this isn't just some cool sounding throwaway line. No way. This feels like a mission statement for the entire teaser. It's setting a tone that's tragic, for sure, but also kinda noble. Like they're accepting what's coming.
All right, first stop, a world in ruins. And the visuals, man, they don't open with some big explosion. Instead, it's this quiet, almost heartbreaking look at a world we all recognize, just completely shattered.
So we see that famous metal sign for the Xavier Institute, right? But it's all bent and twisted. The mansion in the background is just gone, destroyed. You can just feel the devastation from whatever battle took place there. And this is so important because, this isn't just a building. It's the heart of the X-Men. It's their home, their sanctuary, and it has fallen. And then we get this shot, a single king chess piece just hovering in the air. It's beautiful, but also so symbolic. I mean, for decades, that chessboard has been the symbol of the whole ideological struggle between Professor X and Magneto, right? So seeing it like this, just floating there in the middle of all that destruction, it feels final. Like the game is really, truly over.
Then the camera shows us Charles and Eric. Charles is in his classic chair, Eric's got the long hair, and they're just holding hands. There's no fight left in them, no anger. It's just this look on their faces of peaceful acceptance, like two old friends who know it's the end and they're facing it together. It's an unbelievably powerful and sad moment.
Okay, next section, the last stand. Because just when you're sinking into all that quiet sadness, bam! The teaser just explodes with this one absolutely breathtaking moment of pure, unfiltered heroism.
And here it is. This is Spot Summers like we have always wanted to see him on the big screen. His face is caked in dirt and blood, and he just rips off his visor and lets loose with everything he's got. It's raw, it's desperate, it's this incredibly powerful blast aimed at some massive threat that's just off screen.
Okay, let's look closer at this shot, because the details here are just amazing. First, his costume is a perfect live-action match for his X-Men '97 suit, the one fans have been begging to see for years. And yep, the yellow trunks are gone. But then, look behind him. You see that massive metal foot? That can only be one thing, a sentinel. And judging by the size of that foot, it's on a scale we have never, ever seen before.
All right, let's connect the clues. So what does this all add up to? We've got a ruined school, a final goodbye between Charles and Eric, and this epic last stand from Cyclops. Well, the main theory out there points to one specific comic book storyline that seems to be the blueprint for all of this. And that blueprint? It seems to be the Time's Run Out storyline from the comics. Now, in the comics, this was a huge world-ending event about something called incursions. Basically, two universes are about to crash into each other, and the only way to save your universe is to destroy the other one first. Now, think about the MCU. It's deep in its multiverse saga, and it needs a big, dramatic way to finally bring in the mutants. Well, this storyline, it's the perfect, and I mean perfect, tragic way to do it. And the evidence that this is a grand finale just keeps piling up. I mean, look at this list. We're not just getting one or two little cameos. We are getting a full-blown reunion of the original Fox X-Men cast. This doesn't feel like a team-up, This feels like a final curtain call. Which brings us to the main event, the Doomsday theory. This is where it all comes together into one single, absolutely terrifying theory about the end of an entire cinematic universe.
So the popular theory puts Dr. Doom at the center of all of this.
I mean, as a master of both science and magic, he's one of the few people who could even figure out an incursion is happening. And to save his own reality, it makes perfect, ruthless sense that he'd decide to just eliminate the X-Men's universe first. And the coldest part? Using their own greatest enemy, the Sentinels, as his personal universe-destroying army. That is a stone-cold, calculated move that is so perfectly Dr. Doom.
So you see, this isn't about just winning a fight. This is about surviving an apocalypse. The whole idea is that their entire universe is going to be wiped out, just erased from existence. Anyone who manages to escape won't be a winner, they'll be a refugee. And where do they land? In the main MCU timeline. And just like that, you finally, definitively set the stage for mutants in the MCU.
Okay, on to our next section, a hero's final bow. Because this theory gets even more specific, and honestly, a lot more tragic, when you start to notice a really disturbing pattern in these teasers.
So, here's the real heart of the theory. The first one of these teasers focused on Steve Rogers. The second one, Thor. And now this third one is all about Cyclops. And guess what happens in the Time's Run Out comic? All three of them die. Heroic, tragic deaths. I mean, come on, that doesn't feel like a coincidence, right? It feels like they are deliberately pointing a spotlight on the heroes who are doomed to fall.
You know, for years, fans have said that Cyclops never really got the respect he deserved on screen. This teaser finally gives him that incredible field leader moment of just raw power and sacrifice. And the theory is, they're finally doing him justice, giving him that moment he deserves, just in time to give him a heroic death. It's kind of perfect, and at the same time, totally devastating. Which really just leaves us with this one final thought, this one big question. Is wiping out an entire universe and killing these versions of the characters we've known for 20 years, is that the most powerful, the most respectful way to honor their legacy while also bringing them into the MCU? Or is it just a tragic, brutal end for an era that maybe, just maybe, deserved a better fate?